And good morning, everyone. Brand new edition of Sports Medicine Weekly here on 670 The Score. I'm Steve Kashul, joined as usual by my co-host, Dr. Brian Cole. He is the head team physician for the Chicago Bulls, one of the team physicians for the Chicago White Sox, a sports medicine specialist, orthopedic surgeon from Midwest Orthopedics at Rush. How are you, Doc Cole?
I'm doing great this morning, Steve.
Good. I'm going to start with shoulders this morning. I had your surgery. You did my surgery about 7 months ago. I wasn't headed to a high stakes level playing field, but how to get back to sports in a high stakes situation to tolerate the discomfort. Let me give you a case in point here. Novak Djokovic, okay? Tennis player, defending champion for the U.S. Open, number one seed going in. He has to forfeit mid-match a few weeks ago at the U.S. Open because his shoulder pain was too much.
Yeah, what's interesting is his non-dominant hand or arm, okay? So that's important because what you see in tennis in the dominant arm is often from the serve where they get labral pathology or labral tears. We've talked about that a bunch. You see it over at athletes, people who serve, people who throw a baseball. But more likely than not, this is something different. What it is, there's no way I could say because the information isn't there. But what was, I think, very interesting in him is it's non-dominant arm, so he tosses a ball that way, uses a double-handed backhand. So the initial attempt was to get him back, and they did something to sort of, as the reports say, kill the pain instantly. And I can tell you that that's a lot of people are fascinated in what we have at our disposal to get someone back in the setting of pain that prohibits their ability to play. And obviously this is high stakes. This guy's number one seed, and it's the U.S. Open, and he's got to check out. So what do you got to try to get him back without hurting him? And I think the key issue is identifying a problem that won't be made worse by playing through it. And that has to be done very quickly when you have a short timeline. And, the truth be told, most things can't be made structurally worse by playing with them. The question is, what do you do to get them in check so their performance isn't suffering due to the pain? And that can be something simple like ice and stretching. It can be electric stim. It can sometimes involve taking medications like anti-inflammatories. I would say we would rarely, if ever, give a high-level medication other than a strong anti-inflammatory. It was not uncommon to use injections of anti-inflammatories in the recent past, so-called Toradol injections, but that's come over intense scrutiny, and that's hardly ever used, at least from my point of view, it's hardly ever used anymore, but it probably is in some settings. It still can be done safely. And then you can actually use injections into the area. What you can do is you can temporarily eliminate pain sometimes, depending on the source, by giving lidocaine or a numbing medicine to get someone through an important situation. So what was done here, I don't know. But the challenge is sometimes it works, and like the quote, he was heard saying, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And unfortunately, later on he had to tap out because the left shoulder was just too significant. And my guess is, when you're dealing with a backhand situation, non-dominant arm, it could be a bicep situation, it could be a tendonitis or an overuse type thing. Hopefully nothing more serious, and we'll get to see him back as he's obviously just an awesome tennis player to watch.